You sink into your seat, click the belt shut, and it hits you all at once. This isn't just a flight, it's 14 hours trapped in a metal tube. The food is worse, the space is tighter, the air feels dry enough to steal the moisture from your bones, and nothing around you really feels like it's yours. Sound familiar? Here's the good news. It doesn't have to feel like that. With a few smart choices, you can step off the plane tired, sure, but not completely destroyed. And that's exactly what we're breaking down today. No paid upgrades, no secret status cards, just practical moves frequent flyers rely on every single time. Stick with me to the end because one small decision can save you hours of discomfort. And it starts before the plane ever leaves the ground, because once you're stuck in the wrong spot, every other trick, snacks, headphones, neck pillows, only helps so much. That's why the very first move that actually matters is simple. Your seat choice doesn't just affect comfort. It decides whether this feels like a long flight or a slow-motion hostage situation. Choose badly, and you'll spend 14 hours wedged between strangers, asking yourself why driving wasn't an option. Tip 1. Choose your seat like it matters, because it does. Most economy tickets let you select a seat as soon as online check-in opens. The problem? Timing. Some airlines open check-in 24 hours before departure. Others do it at 48. Miss that window, and all the good seats vanish fast. Set an alarm like you're trying to buy concert tickets, not casually wandering in with the last boarding group. And don't just click the first empty square you see. Seat maps hide landmines. Use tools like Aerolopa to spot the traps, rows that don't recline, seats jammed against galleys or bathrooms, and the quiet winners with a little extra legroom no one talks about. As for seat types, window seats are gold if you want real sleep, no bathroom traffic, and something solid to lean against. Aisle seats work best if you like getting up, stretching, or pacing without disturbing anyone. Exit rows offer more legroom, but you give up under-seat storage and get rigid armrests that don't move. And here's an underrated option most people skip, the last row that still reclines. No one behind you to glare when you lean back and relax. Bottom line, comfort starts with the seat you claim. Get this right, and the rest of the flight instantly feels easier. And if that already sounds like insider advice, the next move is even more underrated. You know that moment mid-flight when you finally stand up to head to the bathroom and your legs feel vacuum sealed? You shuffle down the aisle, ankles stiff, wondering how you somehow aged 30 years somewhere over open ocean. That's where compression socks change everything. Tip 2. Compression socks. The quiet game changer. They aren't fashionable. No one's arguing that. But the moment you slip them on, your legs stop swelling, the tightness eases, and suddenly your body stops fighting the seat. It honestly feels like sneaking a cheat code into economy. And here's the part most travelers miss. Compression socks don't just help circulation, they keep your feet warm. At 35,000 feet, cabins run cold, especially overnight. Keeping your feet warm tricks your body into relaxing faster, which makes sleep come easier. Flight crews joke about it all the time. They can tell who packed socks by who's asleep halfway through the flight versus who's curled up clutching that thin airline blanket like it's their last defense. Watch frequent flyers during boarding. You'll see them quietly pulling on compression socks right after takeoff. Not for style, because they've learned the hard way that landing with legs that feel normal is worth the effort. Pack a pair. Put them on before you board, then forget about them until landing. Your legs will feel lighter, looser, and ready for what comes next. Because once your feet are taken care of, the real question becomes, how do you stop the rest of your body from locking up for hours at a time? Up at cruising altitude, the cabin temperature drops fast. One minute you're fine, the next it feels like a walk-in freezer. Keeping your feet warm does more than add comfort. It sends a signal to your nervous system that everything's okay. And when your body relaxes, the entire flight feels easier. Flight crews even laugh about this. They can spot the passengers who packed properly by who's already asleep halfway through the flight versus who's twisted up, hugging that thin, scratchy airline blanket like it's their last defense. Seasoned travelers know the routine. If you glance around after takeoff, you'll catch the pros quietly pulling on compression socks. Not to look clever, because experience taught them that touching down with legs that still feel normal is worth the prep. So throw a pair in your bag, put them on before boarding, then don't think about them again until landing. Your legs will feel lighter, less stiff, and that sets you up perfectly for the next step, because once your feet are handled, the bigger challenge appears. How do you keep the rest of your body from turning into a statue after hours in the same seat? Compression socks help with swelling, but they can't do everything. Sit completely still for 10 hours and your body will complain loudly. The good news? You don't need much movement to change the outcome. Tip 3. Move just enough to stay human. Smart flyers build motion into the flight, nothing dramatic, no stretching routines in the aisle, just standing up, gentle stretching, or walking to the galley once in a while makes a noticeable difference. On my last flight to London, I made myself get up every 2 hours, sometimes just to refill my water bottle. By the time we landed, I wasn't the one hobbling through customs like I'd pulled something mid-air. And if you're stuck in a window seat, you're not out of luck. Small movements still count. Flex your toes, roll your ankles, lift one knee at a time. It's invisible exercise. No one notices, but your circulation absolutely does. Instead of skipping past the wellness section on the seatback screen, take a second look. Some airlines quietly include short stretch videos that seem pointless until you've been sitting for 10 hours and your spine feels like it forgot its shape. I once followed a 2-minute routine on a Delta red-eye. Nothing fancy, but it reset my body just enough that I could actually rest afterward. Think of movement as in-flight medicine. Wake your joints now, and your body will reward you later with better sleep and a smoother landing. Keep those joints active now, and your body will repay you later with better sleep. Which brings us to the next big challenge. How do you actually get real rest in economy without waking up every 20 minutes? On my last overnight flight, I noticed something interesting. The people who genuinely slept in economy didn't look more exhausted than everyone else. They just knew how to set the conditions. Sleep at cruising altitude isn't about one magic item. It's about stacking small adjustments until your body finally gives in. Tip 4. Build a sleep setup that actually works. Start with the seat itself. Those headrests aren't just for show. Most of them have small wings you can bend inward. Fold them in and suddenly your head stops snapping side to side like a dashboard toy on a bumpy road. Now that free pillow everyone ignores, don't put it around your neck. Slide it behind your lower back instead. It takes the edge off the seat and turns it from a torture device into, okay, this is manageable. Tiny changes, yes, but they pay you back hours later. Here's one most passengers never notice. Check underneath your armrest. Many seats have a hidden latch or button that lets it lift up. Pop it open and you gain extra space to lean or share the area with a travel companion without a hard plastic wall digging into you. Next comes your own gear. A travel pillow flipped under the chin beats the classic head bob every time. A proper eye mask, not the flimsy airline freebie, shuts down cabin lights completely. And a large scarf? That's your Swiss Army knife, blanket, neck warmer, privacy shield all in one. Here's a quiet trick a flight attendant once showed me. After takeoff, pull your personal item out slightly and rest it behind your calves. It's safer than tossing it overhead and works as a makeshift footrest. I tried this on a 10-hour JFK to Heathrow flight, and when we landed, my legs felt closer to premium economy than coach. Best part? No one around me even noticed I'd given myself a hidden upgrade. Stack these tweaks together and economy sleep goes from impossible to I actually got a few solid hours. You finally drift off. Neck pillow set, eye mask blocking the glow, headphones playing soft white noise, and then tap, tap. A flight attendant nudges your arm for a seatbelt check, or worse, shakes you awake to offer a meal you didn't even want. Annoying, absolutely avoidable completely. Tip 5. Protect your sleep from unnecessary wake-ups. The fix is almost too simple. Buckle your seatbelt over your blanket or jacket, not underneath it. It looks a little odd, but it lets the crew confirm you're strapped in without waking you during turbulence. I learned this on an overnight JFK to Lisbon flight. The woman next to me did it. She slept straight through. I didn't. I got tapped awake 3 separate times. When we landed, she looked refreshed. I looked like I'd survived boot camp. Here's another overlooked move. If you plan to skip a meal, lower your tray table before closing your eyes. That way the crew can set a tray down quietly or roll past without poking you awake. I forgot once and woke up mid-dream to a hot foil lid hovering on my lap. Not my finest travel moment. Use both of these and a short nap turns into real unbroken rest. In economy, that's about as close to first-class sleep as it gets. Now close your eyes on any long-haul flight and just listen. A baby warming up their vocal cords, an engine humming like a lawnmower in the next room, a seatmate laughing too loudly at a sitcom, and somewhere behind you a snore that could register on a seismograph. It feels less like an airplane and more like trying to nap in the middle of a food court. That's where noise control changes everything. I once flew Chicago to Frankfurt next to a guy blasting an action movie straight from his laptop speakers. The entire row suffered until I put on my noise-canceling headphones, hit play on some lo-fi music, and watched the chaos fade into silence. Same flight, same noise. But suddenly it felt like I'd carved out a tiny pocket of business class right there in economy. If you don't want bulky headphones, earplugs can be shockingly powerful if you actually use them correctly. A fellow traveler showed me the right method. Roll the foam tight, insert it gently, hold it in place, and wait about 10 seconds while it expands. That tiny detail changes everything. The constant cabin roar fades into a soft hush, so quiet you almost forget you're still flying economy. Some frequent flyers take it even further. Earplugs in first, lightweight headphones over the top. It looks ridiculous. It works incredibly well. And here's the real payoff. When you're not fighting noise for 10 straight hours, you land calmer, clearer, and with far more patience. Silence in the sky isn't a luxury. It's survival, but sound is only half the battle. Even if you master the noise, the wrong food or drink can still turn your body against you before you ever land. Tip 6. Eat and drink like you want to feel good later. On long-haul flights, what you put in your body decides how you feel on arrival. Get it right and you walk off ready to explore. Get it wrong and the cabin turns into an inescapable, uncomfortable slog. Let's start with food. Airline meals always show up at the worst times. Midnight pasta, early morning curry. A friend once told me about a Chicago-Tokyo flight. She sat next to a guy who ate not only his own meal, but his partner's too. 6 hours later, he was pacing the aisle, holding his stomach, while she calmly ate the sandwich she'd packed from home. Guess who felt better at immigration? The rule is simple. Skip heavy foods. Greasy dishes, extra salty snacks, or eggs at strange hours can leave you bloated and miserable for hours. Stick to light, familiar options. a plain sandwich, unsalted nuts, a soft granola bar your stomach already trusts, and don't depend on the snack cart. Crackers and chips only dry you out further in cabin air that's already drier than a desert. Now, drinks. A viewer once told me she made the mistake of having 2 glasses of wine before a late-night flight to Europe. The result? 7 hours of headache and 0 sleep. Alcohol and caffeine both drain your body of water when it needs hydration most. The smarter move is water, and not just an occasional sip. Aim for roughly 1 cup an hour, or about 8 ounces every 60 to 90 minutes. It sounds like a lot, but spread across the flight, it keeps your body balanced, your skin less dry, and your energy steady. Want a small upgrade? Add an electrolyte packet once or twice. It's like hitting a reset button mid-air. Eat light, drink smart, and you'll step off the plane feeling human, not like a wrung-out sponge. And I'm curious, have you ever had a food or drink disaster on a flight? Drop it in the comments. Those stories usually teach more than any safety card ever could. Now let's talk entertainment. Holding your phone for 10 hours straight, forget it. Your wrists will quit before the drink service even finishes. The smarter move is turning that flimsy tray table into your own personal screen. And the hacks, they're surprisingly creative. A pop socket on the back of your phone instantly becomes a sturdy stand. Simple, reliable. No pop socket? Flip your sunglasses upside down, rest the phone against the frame, and you've just built a low-budget in-flight theater. Some travelers get creative and hang a clear plastic bag from the tray latch. Drop your phone inside and suddenly, a budget-friendly seatback screen. Yes, that viral TikTok trick with the airsick bag wedged behind your phone case. It actually works. Silly? Sure. Effective? Absolutely. Half the fun is that it looks like you're doing DIY crafts at 35,000 feet, but the real magic is in the upgrade. Tip 7. Build a flight-only entertainment stash. Here's a trick I call the flight-only stash. Save new shows or podcasts exclusively for the plane. That season you've been dying to binge. Hold off. That podcast everyone's talking about? Not now. When you press play mid-air, your brain instantly links economy with something you've been craving. Suddenly, it's not just a seat and coach. It's movie night with perks. I even saved new Game of Thrones episode for takeoff. Pour a little mint tea from my bag, unwrap TSA-approved snacks, and suddenly the flight feels less like survival and more like a reward. Next time, don't just brace for boredom. Build your own mini entertainment system. Tip 8. Ditch the plastic, pack a thermos. Speaking of packing the right tools, swapping that flimsy plastic water bottle for a proper thermos might be the smartest upgrade you'll ever bring. At security, you see it all the time. Passengers clutching empty bottles, ready to fill them at the gate fountain. It works, but it's basic. Switch to a wide-mouth thermos and suddenly hydration becomes strategic. Here's why it matters. A good thermos keeps drinks icy cold for hours or piping hot like you just brewed them. A friend brought peppermint tea on a Boston-London midnight flight. She poured it mid-flight and half the row leaned over, eyes wide. Wait, how did you score that? Meanwhile, I was stuck with my sad little plastic cup, already lukewarm before the seatbelt sign even turned off. And the galley hot water? That's your secret weapon. With a thermos, you're not limited to tea. You can have instant soup or oatmeal at 3 a.m. when the cabin feels endless. Nothing impresses a seatmate faster than calmly eating hot miso while they stare at another packet of pretzels. The bigger size is where it truly shines. No more rationing 3 sips from a flimsy cup. A proper thermos keeps a steady supply by your side. I once watched a guy try balancing 4 half-full cups on his tray. 2 slid off during turbulence, 1 soaked his crossword, and the last landed in his lap. Across the aisle, another passenger unscrewed his thermos, took a calm sip, and went back to his movie like nothing happened. That's the difference, chaos versus control. Bring a thermos and you'll step off hydrated, calm, and maybe a little smug knowing you outsmarted the system. Tip 9. Create your in-flight survival kit. Speaking of outsmarting the system, let's talk about where to stash your essentials so you're not climbing over strangers every time you need something. One of the biggest rookie mistakes? Cramming everything into the overhead bin only to realize 3 hours later that the things you actually need are locked away. You either sit frustrated or do awkward aisle yoga, climbing over two strangers, yanking your bag down, and instantly becoming the row's least favorite passenger. The fix? A small survival kit that lives under the seat in front of you. Not a second carry-on, just a slim pouch or tote with the items you'll reach for most. Headphones, snacks, charger, lip balm, maybe a travel toothbrush. Think of it as your in-flight command center. I learned this the hard way. On my very first long haul, I was up every hour digging through the overhead bin. A book, a snack, a hoodie. By hour 5, I felt like a zombie disturbing everyone. By hour 10, my patience was gone. After a few miserable flights, I finally wised up. Now, I always keep a small kit under the seat with just the essentials, and it's become my little mid-air lifesaver. So how do you make it actually work for you? Pick a bag that's soft and flexible so it slides under the seat without stealing your leg room. A bag with 2 or 3 compartments is even better. You don't want to dump everything out just to find a pair of earbuds. I once tried using one big zipper pouch and ended up digging around like I was searching for a prize in a cereal box. Lesson learned. Compartments save your sanity. Once you set it up, you feel organized, calm, and far less like you're living out of a suitcase at 35,000 feet. Here's something most people don't notice until halfway across the ocean. Cabin air is so dry it turns your nose into sandpaper, your lips into chalk, and your skin into a complaint form. But you don't have to suffer. For your nose, a tiny trick works wonders. Dab a cotton swab in thick balm or ointment, store it in your kit, and when the dry air hits, swirl it gently inside each nostril. A traveler swore this stopped their mid-flight nosebleeds on a Denver-Munich flight. Odd? Yes. Effective? Absolutely. Tip 10. Keep your medication handy. This is absolutely non-negotiable. Always follow the 48-hour rule. Anything you might need in the next 2 days, painkillers, prescription meds, allergy medicine, or even travel supplements should live in your carry-on, ideally tucked in that small underseat kit you prepared. Don't rely on checked luggage for anything essential. Why? Flights get delayed, connections disappear, or your suitcase might decide to take an unexpected vacation to another city. Imagine arriving at your destination, desperately needing your medication, only to find your bag stuck somewhere halfway across the globe. Even worse, airport pharmacies often close late at night, so there's no emergency backup. Label everything clearly and make it easy to grab. Pills, inhalers, or even small ointments should have their own compartment or Ziploc bag inside your kit. This way, if turbulence hits or you need something quickly mid-flight, you won't be digging through layers of clothes or rummaging around the overhead bin. Keeping your medication close isn't just about convenience, it's about peace of mind. When you know your essentials are right at hand, you can focus on staying comfortable, hydrated, and relaxed instead of stressing about missing doses or last-minute pharmacy runs. Tip 11. Create a mini refresh kit. Want to feel human when you land? Build a tiny refresh kit and actually use it before descent. Travel toothbrush and paste, a couple of face or body wipes, lip balm, hand cream, a small moisturizer. If you're female, toss in a spare pair of underwear or a panty liner. It makes everything feel fresh again. 5 minutes in the lab, and you'll walk out looking like you slept, even if you didn't. Comfort isn't just what you pack, it's what you wear for 14 hours straight. The cabin isn't a runway, it's a pressurized tube with recycled air where temperatures swing from freezer to sauna in under an hour. That outfit you thought looked sharp at check-in? 3 hours in, you're tugging at tight jeans, wishing you'd dressed like it was a Netflix binge on the couch. The pros know layers win. Start with soft, breathable clothing, joggers or loose pants that let your legs move. A light t-shirt underneath and a hoodie or zip-up jacket gives you options when the cabin plays weather roulette. A big, lightweight scarf, call it the Swiss Army knife of comfort. It's a blanket, a pillow, a neck warmer, even an eye mask in a pinch. One item solves 5 problems before the seatbelt sign goes off. Now here's what not to do: skinny jeans, stiff belts, or outfits loaded with zippers and chains. They don't just squeeze you in your seat, they turn you into the passenger everyone dreads at TSA, setting off alarms while fumbling with buckles. On board, those fashion choices become a medieval torture device, making the seat feel even smaller. On a long flight, nobody wins style points for surviving in denim straitjackets. Tip 12. Quick change kit for landing. If you really want to step off the plane feeling alive, bring a quick change kit. Fresh socks, clean underwear, maybe a light shirt. Swap into them about an hour before landing. It feels like hitting a reset on your body. I've seen people shuffle off a 12-hour haul looking wrecked, while the passenger who did a 5-minute bathroom wardrobe change looked like they just stepped out of duty-free. Think of it as your secret cheat code. Everyone else lands rumpled, you land ready for selfies. Because survival on a long flight isn't just about how you sit, it's about what you sit in. Airplane bathrooms are like theme parks. You never want to show up right when the line is at its peak. Most passengers do exactly that the second the seatbelt sign blinks off. 2 hours after the meal service, a conga line stretches halfway down the aisle. Miserable. Smart flyers play it differently. The trick is to zig when everyone else zags. Use the bathroom before boarding while still in the terminal. It's cleaner, bigger, and turbulence-free. Once on board, time your brakes around the food service. While everyone else is stuck with trays, the aisle to the lav is wide open. It feels almost illegal how easy it is. Go early, go when others can't. Skip the lines, dodge smells, and avoid the awkward bathroom dance. By the time the cabin realizes they need to go, you'll be back in your seat, sipping water and smiling like you discovered a cheat code. Tip 13, flying with kids and small comforts, flying with children. Comfort isn't luxury, it's survival. Kids don't need gadgets, they need small comforts that feel like home. A favorite blanket, a stuffed animal that's been hugged 1,000 times, or crackers they eat every afternoon. On a plane, these small comforts become big lifesavers. Instead of just surviving, try making it more fun. Tablets with cartoons work, but silly games like I Spy, sticker books, or letting them doodle on the airsick bag can keep kids happy longer than Wi-Fi. The smartest parents pace themselves. Trying to do everything solo burns out fast. Swap shifts, give each adult 10 minutes to reset, and the kids sense it too. Tip 14, preparing for jet lag. Once you've survived the cramped seat, dry air, and questionable meals, the next challenge is jet lag. No matter your age, that time zone shift can hit like a brick wall. Seasoned travelers don't just hope for the best, they prepare. A few days before takeoff, start nudging your sleep schedule towards your destination, earlier if flying east, later flying west. It feels small, but your body clock notices. Once on board, reset everything immediately. Change your watch or phone to the local time and try to eat and sleep by that schedule. It tricks your brain into adjusting faster. On red eyes, use all the tools: eye mask, headphones, maybe a little melatonin if it works for you. Tip 15, making the first moment count. Ultimately, nobody remembers how rough the flight was. They remember how it felt when their feet hit the ground. Make that first moment feel like the start of an adventure, not the end of one. Surviving a long haul in economy isn't about luck, it's about knowing the right moves. From the seat you pick to the snacks you pack, every small choice stacks up until the flight feels less like survival mode and more manageable. If this saved you from sore knees or the dreaded bathroom line, give it a like, share it with that friend who always books the middle seat, and hit subscribe so you've got backup for your next flight. Thanks for watching, and may your next journey be smoother, quieter, and just a little more comfortable. Safe travels.